CFA Nation? Gabe, and I'm here today to bring you guys another reaction. That's right, this to a Robolinda 2 video, and man, I'm so interested in this one. We're talking about a video titled "Disgraceful Umpires." We recently, Nick and I, actually got interviewed for a different channel, and I always say, umpires are like the loathsome bunch. People hate umpires, like lawyers. You know what I mean? Like, oh man, you know what I mean? Nobody likes a lawyer until you need one. But just saying, right? Like with umpires, I was like, does anybody even know an umpire? I mention that all the time in live streams when I'm interacting with CFA Nation. Like, listen, they're such a loathsome bunch. They probably don't even admit they're umpires because they're universally hated. And this guy was laughing, but he kind of made some good points, and I don't want to ruin who interviewed us, and you just have to check it out on their channel when they go ahead and drop it. But as an umpire, he kind of made some good points and stood up for himself. But he did acknowledge that, sometimes umpires do get it wrong, and you got to own up to it. So for me, it's just the title of this video: Disgraceful Umpires. Not necessarily when they make mistakes. We're all human, right? When no one's perfect. None of us walk on water, right? We're not Jesus or anything like that. But with that being said, when is it a mistake or when is it intentional? And you see that happen in baseball all the time when umpires get their feelings hurt, and then all of a sudden they just want to start squeezing the players, not calling balls and strike, just being vindictive and not doing their job. And to me, that's when I have a problem with umpires trying to retaliate against players for maybe calling them out. I'm doing a bad call. This is Colin Croft versus 1980, the year I was born, Fred Goodall. Fred Goodall. And let's find out, let's see how egregious these calls are. Let's see if you agree with them. And yeah, I want to go ahead and jump into this. So without any further ado, in 3, 2, 1.
Through the vacant point region, before more, King had no chance at cover.
One of the four horsemen, Colin Croft.
10 no balls. Twizzler bowling to head. Short.
Oof.
Going for the hook. Loud appeal for caught behind. That went close to the glove.
Ooh.
Derek Murray, not very happy.
That looked close to me.
By Croft, looking to hook Hadley, angling in towards him.
Question is, oh, he hit that for sure.
The West Indies going up for the court behind.
He hit that for sure. That's egregious.
Not at all happy. This is what all the controversy's been about. Similar incidents.
That should be caught in the slips, man. That's an edge, not a slip. Sorry, by the keeper. That's an edge. I mean, that's wow.
Umpire Fred Goodall, we see moving down the wicket. Croft saying something to Goodall.
Oh.
Prompted some action. Steve Woodward, the other umpire, coming from square leg. No doubt Goodall and Woodward will have a word with Captain Clive Lloyd. We can only speculate at what's going on out there, but I imagine that following that loud appeal from the West Indians, Colin Croft was noticeably upset. He had a word or two to Fred Goodall, and this has prompted Goodall to go down and speak to Clive Lloyd. Croft to Hadley.
All right, next ball.
No ball called, wide down the left side. Croft's 11th no ball. New Zealand move on to 325.
Knocked off the... Oh, he went by the stumps. Knocked off the bails. Umpire's looking at him. And see, when the umpire does that, now the umpire's engaging in it. You're not a player. You're not a part of the game. You know what I mean? You're there to be an arbiter, right? You're there to be an official.
There's a little abuse for Colin Croft.
So was that a no ball? I couldn't tell. That's a no ball for sure.
Umpire Fred Goodall on his run up. He ran deliberately close.
Oh!
Umpire Goodall struck him on the way through, and we see Fred Goodall moving down to Clive Lloyd. That was a deliberate.
I've never seen that though. Did he intentionally hit him?
Gabe Headley talking to Croft. He ran very close to Fred Goodall and in fact struck him.
I mean, then again, the umpires in my running lane. You don't have to be there.
Goodall to move down to skipper Clive Lloyd.
During that match, the relationship with me and the West Indies team deteriorated. They would not talk to me. They wouldn't accept my decisions, and certain comments were made. It's quite interesting, really, some of the comments. It happened to be my 50th first-class match, and they'd read the local newspaper and made one or two comments, references to that. And after I called Colin for a no ball and turned down the court behind, that was too much for him. So he came in and ran into me. But the ball immediately before that, when I had called him for a no ball, he flicked the bails off in front of me as a gesture of defiance, perhaps. Who knows? And after the incident, when I got hit, I walked down the pitch to Clive Lloyd, the captain, but he didn't really want to know about it.
Unfortunate incident. One can only wonder where we go from here.
Ooh. Wow.
338 for 6.
Croft to Hadley.
Short, hooked again. Holding makes no effort at all. It's scoreboard. Hadley 21, New Zealand 342 for 6 wickets. Roberts to Hadley. Short, pulled away off his face. That's a 6. Into the number 4 stand. Richard Hadley is 98. New Zealand are 441 for 8 wickets. Got it around to Hadley. Short, there it is. 4 runs to the backward court boundary. Richard Hadley, 103. New Zealand, 446 for 8 wickets.
I was able to have a couple of significant milestones in my career at Lancaster Park in Christchurch, my home ground, and my maiden Test 103 was against the West Indies in the second Test match. And in some ways, whilst it should have been a significant milestone, it was quite a hollow feeling about it because the West Indies just didn't want to play. And they were proposing to go on strike during the match. They delayed coming back from a tea break by about 20, 30 minutes. Because they always had their bags packed and just wanted to go home. They just didn't want to play, frustrated through the decision making or lack of them by the umpires. And when they came out and I was still batting, they bowled off short runs and they just made it too easy. And when you get 100, you want to feel as though you've worked for it. And so I didn't feel as though it was too significant, although in the book it says 100. And
wow.
That to me it was gifted.
For a player to come out and say that, that's amazing. You know, that shows a lot of character for Headley. It shows that he understands the game and he understands that while this is a century, it's really a hollow century because they're literally letting me have it because they're more, being defiant, almost like throwing the game at this point because, like, look, we can't play New Zealand and the umpires. You want to give them the game? Fine, we'll give them the game. And for me, I think that when umpiring decisions really impact the game really bad, something should be done. And oftentimes it's not, at least in American sports. It's such a tough thing. And first and foremost, and I had this actual discussion with this person who interviewed us, I do not agree with putting your hands on an umpire. Specifically, fine, the umpire was running in his lane or whatever. I said tongue in cheek, well, he's in his way. He could have avoided him. So with that being said, I'm not going to condone that. I understand Colin Croft's frustration, but right now there's an issue with this kid who's a high school football player who, same thing, bad calls, got frustrated, absolutely trucked umpire, a football umpire here in America. Well, the kid ended up getting arrested and not just kicked off the team. The kid got arrested and charged with assault. You know what I mean? So as professional athletes, you need to realize that what you do, the youngsters are going to do, for better or worse. You know what I mean? You are a role model. And while you may get fined, these kids are now looking at a lifeline. This kid's looking at a lifetime banning and suspension, and he's now got a criminal record for assault. So, you know, you got to set an example. So I don't agree with that. I understand his frustration. I'm okay with knocking off the bails, show him up, show your disgust, but do not put your hands on him. With that being said, though, I understand why he's frustrated. I can't blame him for being frustrated. And the reality is every one of you would be frustrated as well. Like, listen, it is hard enough to go out there and compete against world-class athletes. Don't make me also compete against the umpires. And a lot of times umpires will you know, if you make a mistake, it's one thing. But if it's a continuous thing and now you're showing your emotions as an umpire, you are now becoming a part of the game, and that is not fair to the team that is you've got the beef with, but then it's not fair to the other team, because the other team isn't going to get the best effort of the team, or they may take it out on that team. You know what I mean? Like, it just changes the flow of the game. And I've had so many complaints with umpires over the years, whether it's in, you know, local sports, you know, when I was a coach, now that my boys play, that I'm no longer coaching, and even in general when I watch professional sports. You know, to me, the biggest thing is, fine, if you're going to blow a call, it is what it is. But do not show up the players, because people talk about don't show up the umpire. No. Don't show up the players, okay? If you make a bad call and I call you on it, it's okay to say, yo, my bad, I missed it, as an umpire. Or, you know what? You know, it is what it is. But then don't go out and do what most umpires do, is catch an attitude, try to engage the players, go back and forth, and now you've inserted yourself into that game, okay, as a distraction. Okay, the players out there playing, the players out there on an adrenaline high, you should be the one that keeps your cool as the umpire, and not the other way around. And unfortunately, that doesn't happen. But maybe that's just my opinion. I want to know your opinion, guys. Let me know what you think of this video. As usual, thank you, Robolinda2. He always has the fabulous videos. You guys knew I'd be doing a solo reaction to something like this. And until next time, that's 6 runs.